Hello everyone, we are from Group 3. The member is me, Julieta, Tisya, Majid, and my partner is Widha, Rasita, Utami, Putri, who the next presenter after me. So, we just want to tell you about the audio lingual method. So, let's get started. Okay, the contents are the first, introduction. Second, characteristics of the method. Third is design. And fourth, procedure. And the last is conclusion. Okay, the first is introduction. According to American linguistics, in the 1950s, the audiolingual method was developed from the principle that language is first of all a sound system for social communication. Writing is a secondary derivative system for recording spoken language, according by Carroll, 1963. The audiolingual method considers language only as a form of behavior that must be learned through establishing correct speech habits, according by Thornberry, 2000, page 21. In other words, the goal this method forms native language habits in students, according by Dendrinos, 1992. Likewise, Richard and Rogers emphasize that fluent language learning is fundamentally a process mechanical habit formation and good habit formed by giving correct responses rather than by making mistakes. Audiolingual methods were widely used in the 1950s and 1960s, and the emphasis is not on understanding words, but rather the acquisition of structures and patterns in common everyday dialogue. These patterns are generated, repeated, and tested until the response given by students is in a foreign language automatically. Audiolingual is a foreign language learning method that focuses on understanding listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The teaching and learning form of this method is a conversation and practice, as well as training pattern. In short, the activity of this method is repetition and memorization. The next is characteristics of the method. First, lessons begin with dialogues. 2. Mimicry and memorization are used based on the assumption that language is habit formation. 3. Grammatical structures are sequenced and rules are taught inductively. 4. Skills are sequenced: listening, speaking, reading, writing postponed. 5. Pronunciation is traced from the beginning. 6. Vocabulary is severely limited in initial stages. 7. A great effort is made to prevent learning errors. 8. Language is often manipulated without regard to meaning or context. And the last is, the teacher must be proficient only in the structures, vocabulary, and etc. That she or he is teaching, since learning activities and materials are carefully controlled. The next is design. The objective, blocks, distinguish between short-range and long-range objectives of an audiolingual program. Short-range objectives include training in listening comprehension, accurate pronunciation, recognition of speech symbols as graphic signs on the printed page, and ability to reproduce these symbols in writing. Long-range objectives must be language as the native speaker uses it. There must be some knowledge of a second language as it is possessed by a true bilingualist. Learning activities. The activities of audiolingual method is distinctively various in its application. Brooks, in Richard and Rogers 2001 page 61, proposes the following which are types of learning activities which can be applied in audiolingual method. The first is repetition. The students copy the utterance and repeat it aloud as soon as he or she has heard it. The next is inflection. One word in an utterance appears in another form when repeated. Replacement. One word in a utterance is replaced by another. Restatement. The students rephrase an utterance and address it to someone else according to instructions. Completion. The students listen to an utterance that is complete except for one word, then repeat the utterance in completed form. Transposition. The change in word order is necessary when a word is added. The next is expansion. When a word is added, it takes a certain place in the sequence. Conduction. A single word stands for a phrase or clause. The next, transformation. A sentence is transformed by being made negative or interrogative or through changes in tense, mood, voice, aspect, or modality. Integration. Two separate utterances are integrated into one. Rejoinder. The students make an appropriate rejoinder to a given utterance. And the last, restoration. The student is given a sequence of words that have been pulled from a sentence but still bear its basic meaning. He uses these words with a minimum of changes and addition to restore the sentence to its original form. Okay, the next material will be continued by Widha Rasita.
I will continue the presentation. The next is teaching material. Methods assist the teacher to develop language mastery in the learner. They are primarily teacher-oriented. At this stage in learning, exposure to the printed word might not be considered desirable because it distracts attention from the oral input. Considered desirable because it distracts attention from the oral input. The teacher, however, will have access to a teacher's book that contains the structured sequence of lessons to be followed and the dialogue, drills, and other practice activity. If the teacher is not a native speaker of the target language, the tape recorder provides accurate model from dialogue and drills. Next, teacher and learner's role. The role of teachers. The first, the teacher has a central and active role. Student roles. Learners are seen as organists. The role of the teacher. Two, teacher must keep students paying attention to exercise and assessment. Student role. Learner play a reactive role by responding to stimuli. Procedure. procedure, the first presentation of the dialogue that the teacher reads repeatedly and students are asked to repeat each line of dialogue. One by one, the teacher pays attention to the pronunciation of intonation and fluency. 2. Dialogue is tailored to the student interests or situation by changing certain keyword or phrases. 3. Specific case structure of the dialogue are selected and used as the basis for practicing patterns of various kinds. 4. As proficiency increases, students can write down variation of the structure item they have practiced. 5. Further activities can be carried out in the language laboratory where further dialogue and exercise are carried out. The last conclusion. The audiolingual methods consider language only as a form of behavior that must be learned through establishing correct speech habitat. In other words, the goals these methods from native language habitat in school. Likewise, Richards and Rutgers emphasize that good habitat format by giving correct responses rather than by making mistakes. These patterns are generated, repeated, and tested until the responses given by student is in foreign language automatically. Audiolingual is an foreign language learning method that focuses on understanding, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The methods assist the teacher to develop language mastery in the learner. They are primarily teacher-oriented. If the teacher is not a native speaker of the target language, the tape recorder provides accurate models for language and drill. From the dialogue text that the teacher reads rapidly and students are asked to repeat each line or dialogue one by one, then the teacher pays attention to the pronunciation or of the intonation and fluency. Dialogue cake structure are selected and used as the basis of practicing pattern of various kinds. Activities can be carried out in the language laboratory when the language is conducted and further exercises are carried out. I think enough of our presentation. Thank you.